You don't wake up one day and suddenly stop caring. It happens quietly, slowly. So slowly that you barely notice it while it's happening. One day you're explaining your feelings for the 100th time, and the next you're silent. Not because you don't feel, but because you feel too much. This video is not about becoming heartless. It's about how the heart learns to survive when it's been stretched beyond what it can hold. When caring starts to hurt more than not caring. This is the psychology of emotional retreat, the moment when hope gets tired of being brave. If you've ever felt yourself slowly pulling away, not in anger, but in exhaustion, this story is for you. Chapter 1. The weight of trying. At first, caring feels natural. You give without counting. You explain without resentment. You hope without fear. But over time, something begins to shift. Each misunderstood word adds weight. Each unreciprocated effort adds another stone to the chest. The heart does not collapse suddenly. It bends repeatedly until bending becomes pain. Ancient wisdom once described this as the exhaustion of desire itself, the moment when wanting becomes heavier than losing. This is where the first crack appears, not visible, not dramatic, just a subtle tiredness you can't explain. You still care, but it no longer feels safe to show it. Chapter 2. The silence that follows. Silence replaces words, not because there's nothing to say, but because saying it never changed anything. The mind begins to learn a dangerous lesson, that vulnerability sometimes invites harm instead of connection. A philosopher once taught that repeated disappointment reshapes the soul more than sudden tragedy ever could. And now the soul is reshaping itself quietly. You are still present, but emotionally you've stepped 1 inch backward. No one notices because you still smile, you still reply, you still show up, but your heart has started standing at the exit. Chapter 3. When caring starts to hurt. This is the most painful phase, when you still care deeply but it hurts every time you do. You become hyper-aware of your emotional exposure. You measure your words. You hesitate before hoping. A timeless philosophical idea warned that when the heart bleeds too often, the mind builds armor in self-defense. Not out of cruelty, out of necessity. This is the stage where people misinterpret you. They think you are changing. They don't see that you're simply bleeding less openly now. You are not colder, you are wounded. Chapter 4. The birth of detachment. Detachment doesn't arrive as an emotion, it arrives as a strategy. You learn not to react as quickly, not to invest as deeply, not to expect as blindly. A philosopher once described emotional distance as the wisdom learned after illusion collapses. And now you are learning it the hard way. You still feel, but you no longer chase. You still hope, but you no longer beg. Caring becomes quieter, controlled, protected. This is not emotional death. This is emotional discipline born from grief. Chapter 5. Mistaken for coldness. This is where misunderstanding begins. Others see your restraint and call it coldness. They feel your distance and assume indifference. They never saw the storms that required this shelter. A timeless thinker once warned that the strongest transformations happen invisibly, and this is one of them. You laugh less loudly, you respond more slowly, you protect your peace more fiercely, not because you don't care, but because you finally learned the cost of caring without limits. Chapter 6. The quiet strength of self-protection. Here is the truth most people miss. Caring less is often the bravest thing the heart can do, because it means you survived what once shattered you. You didn't close your heart. You simply learned when to open it. Long ago, a philosopher taught that true strength is not loud resistance, but silent endurance. And now you embody that truth. Your care is no longer reckless. It is sacred, selective, protected. You still love, but now with boundaries, now with wisdom, now with self-respect.